My name is Sondra, and I'm going to take the next 50 minutes and share with you something that I have spent 10 years of my life with a passionate respect for, and that is creating a personal relationship with the subconscious mind, both for us and for our clients or anybody that we work with. So I want to let you know that if you're within the sound of my voice, you are within a hypnotic process. And if that's okay with you, that's great. If not, put yourself into objective mode, because I'm going to give you, my subconscious is going to share with you from the heart of my heart. A little bit of my history. My husband and I have a business in Maryland. I absolutely got hooked on hypnosis, and Larry wanted to know, he said, honey, you're getting into this so deep. I need to understand what it is that you're experiencing. I'm glad it's working for you, but what are you doing? He had a session with the same person that introduced me to hypnosis. And in the process of that, Larry was able to clear just a minor issue that didn't turn out quite like he wanted it to. Todd has MS, and he stepped away to the restroom. And by the time he got back, Larry and I had a discussion. And our request was, can you go back to a memory? Is it possible to go back to a memory with, it turned out, now you know how it turned out. But the night that it happened was god-awful horrendous. And he said, well, that's not the same technique, but yes, I can do that. So over the next couple of hours, this hypnotist with my husband holding my hand took me back to the night that our son was dying in my arms when he was 17 years old. Nick's 39, he's fine. But that particular night, I had told him, goodbye, I love you. And about midnight that night, they decided that they were going to shut off his life support. I screamed. I screamed, shook the planet, and they decided, let's wait till her husband gets here. He was being pulled out of a war zone at the time to be there to be with me. So they decided not to hit the button before Larry got there. 15 years later, I get escorted back into that room, and I look at my son under hypnotic suggestion. I look at my son, and I say, son, you don't die tonight. You are 34 years old. Your wife's name is Wendy. Your son's name is Josh. Your daughter's name is Talia. Your house, your car, and your dog. You work the San Antonio Water Department. And in a week, you're going to wake up and call me mom, and in 3 weeks, you're going to get in the car, and your dad's going to drive you home. When my husband watched me heal that day, he decided this is what I want to do with my life. So, expanding that story a little bit, it became cheaper for Larry to get certified than it was to continue to pay people to hypnotize me. So when you hear people say that, don't hypnotize family members, well, we got into it because of that and for that. With all honor and respect, that's kind of what got us through. There are other big steps that got us through the door. But through every bit of this, from the very first moment that I was hypnotized, I had somebody that introduced me to my subconscious. Deep inside of me, I would have told you I was hollow, and I worked very, very hard to keep everybody else at arm's length so that they didn't know I was hollow. Well, then I met my subconscious, and not only was I not hollow, I met somebody that loves me absolutely, unconditionally, and she became my best friend. And one of the very first, and as I speak this, I say again, if you're in the sound of my voice, you're within a hypnotic environment, respect, and if that's not okay, bring up your objective mode. And I began to create an absolute personal connection with my subconscious mind. I drove back and forth from Washington, D.C., the 22 miles to my home every day, building this relationship with my subconscious. And one of the very first things she said to me was, Sondra, I love you. And we're going to be spending a lot of time together. So you might as well love you too. And it's weird, but I was willing to say yes to her because I just met a new best friend and she asked me for something. She asked me, and so I said yes. And all of a sudden I wasn't hollow anymore. And that's first beginnings at a subconscious level of saying, Sondra, I love you, and meaning it began. This whole process is a little bit different than anything else I've listened to since we've been here, which is fascinating. Because I realize people don't step up and say, hello, subconscious, it is so nice to meet you. Oh my God, memory, without you, memory, this is all here because you know what to bring up and you know what to shift back. Imagination, I not only give you an invitation, I give you permission for a 360, 24/7. Shift my attention. You will never know, ever know what you've been saved from when you activate your subconscious mind to be your partner and your friend. Because there are small body language, there are situational things going on around you all the time. And when your subconscious sees it, suddenly imagination goes, oh, look, a squirrel. You don't know what you missed. And that kind of powerful stuff is available when you work with your subconscious mind. And it starts with a very simple question. Do I have permission to partner with your subconscious? That question is asked to the wide awake, conscious, cognitive, thinking, looking at you, talking to your mind. Do I have your permission to work with your subconscious? Now, I used to say, do I have permission to work with your subconscious when I get you into trance? But I've shifted it to I have permission to work with your subconscious because the subconscious 24/7, she doesn't shut off. He listens all the time. Subconscious is not an it, okay? Just so we're clear, the it thing doesn't work for me. It's he, it's she, personally, living, breathing, has been with you since your first breath and will be with you to the last. I did not get here by myself. And with great honor and respect, I say thank you to some of the people that, for me, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for some of the people on this list. In March of 2014, I get the phone call. Our house is burning down, 5 fire trucks, 50 firefighters. Our house is gone. Everything we owned is done. Not a good day. Just in case you're wondering, scale of 1 to 10, house burning down, not the best day. 10 months later, the house still stayed where it lay. There was insurance, and there was representation, and there were builders, and there's all this stuff that happens when you lose everything you own. And so at this point, I had created a relationship with my subconscious, and my question was, what do I do about all this? Because it literally is, once you connect with your subconscious, it really is a conversational style, because you're willing to receive thought. So you ask yourself a question, and then allow imagination, allow memory, allow emotion, allow your belief to step in and go, honey, this is what we believe. Remember, this is what happened. Oh God, I forgot. That whole process happens. Well, my subconscious, when I said, how do I get through all this? I said, write a book. That's what I got. So I wrote a book. I thought that I was supposed to write a book about the fire. No, you don't write a book about the fire when your house is still rubble on the ground. Bad timing, okay? Just so we're clear. So what I did is I have been, at that point it was 6 years when I started writing, I have been an avid hypnosis subject for 6 years. Any book that I've ever seen on hypnosis is written for a hypnotist, by a hypnotist, on how to be a hypnotist, so what you can accomplish with your clients, what you can expect them to receive. Mine is what happens when you walk back into the trauma center and you tell your kid he's not going to die 15 years after that nightmare started. What happens is you get to be free. And the other end of my book is, what do you do after spending all this time in a relationship with your subconscious and your house burns down? I wrote a book. We published this book on the same day that we moved into our new house. And I'd like to honor Sean for a second. He was willing to, you'll stand for a minute. Sean was willing to write the foreword for my book. So we were already friends. He was one of the first people that believed in me. And he saw my subconscious the very first time he ever said hello to me. So sometimes we stand on the shoulders of giants, and they don't act like they're giants, but they lift you up in a way that your subconscious can say, wait a minute, if you believe in me, he hadn't seen me in years. This process of being a hypnotist, the process of wanting to learn stuff, happens because we're around other people that know what we don't know. If you know enough to ask the question, then you know enough to handle the choices and the possibilities that are going to come on the other side, especially if you're connected to your subconscious. Well, I can't afford a mastermind group. I want to know about neuroplasticity. Neuroplastic city. I can spell it now. But neuroplasticity and hypnosis together, how do those all fit together? I can't afford a mastermind group, but I know brilliant people. So what I started doing was I invited friends of ours, and I created Smart Dudes Dinner because I'm a really good cook. Would you stand? This is Hugh Hardy, one of the most brilliant men on the planet. He stepped in during Smart Dudes Dinner, and we discussed neuroplasticity. As I was creating my recovery out of the fire, I learned I didn't know how to take the next step forward. What my subconscious, with a personal relationship with my subconscious, did for me was she gave me sacred geometry. Because I don't know where to go next. I don't know where the next step's going to be. Well, I started drawing sacred geometry, and as long as you got a line in a circle, you got the next intersection. Then you put your compass there, and you draw something else, and then you know where the next step is. So I learned how to walk literally out of the ashes of the fire with a passion for sacred geometry. So my friend Hugh, who's, as I said already, one of the most brilliant men I know, I went to him and I said, will you help me mix my passions for hypnosis? So he drops me into trance, spoke with my subconscious, because we've already got this connection. I can't look at him right now, so I'm not ignoring you. I just can't look at you right now. He puts me out, just blinking at me, and I'm gone. And so what we did is he gave me a path for success where everything fits together, no matter where you are, no matter where you're at. It's going to fit together perfectly. And he did that by giving me a sacred geometry grid in the heart of my subconscious. So now I don't get lost anymore. I don't get lost anymore because my subconscious let me know that to walk through the ashes, to get out of the fire, sacred geometry was one of my things. I know other people in this room too, but I'm just saying I didn't get here by myself, and I honor you. If I were to give you 5 words that are going to change your life and the lives of your clients, I'm almost speaking to you guys more than your clients, but once you get it, then you can share it with the people that you care about. It's hello, subconscious, and thank you, subconscious. You want to know something? Ask. I spent a year driving back and forth from DC, either verbally asking a question or thinking a question, because subconscious can work at the speed of thought. And it was a relationship that we built. But all of this stuff, every bit of this stuff that we're learning about day in, day out for here and wherever we are, you pay for it with gratitude. You learn something, and then from the heart of your heart, you're willing to say thank you. Thank you, subconscious. That is now fixed in my memories. My imagination is having a blast with this idea. I've got her own slide for belief, because you know what? If you don't invite belief to the party, you don't need to play the game. When you can step up and say, belief, is this okay with you? Are you okay with where we are right here, right now? How about if we invite belief to the party and say, belief, where are we right now? Is this okay? Because when you ask belief to step the path with you, nothing matters unless you got belief on board with you. So hello, subconscious. Thank you, subconscious. Say those to yourself when you wake up in the morning. Good morning, hello, subconscious. And as you live your day, thank you, thank you, thank you. And the more you acknowledge your subconscious, one of the first things she said to me is, Sondra, we're going to be spending a lot of time together. And I love you, so you might as well love you too. Okay. Okay. Game on. Your subconscious has been with you since you took your very, very first breath. And he will be with you until you take your last breath. That is a companion that will never leave you, will never step away from who you are and where you're at. And you're going through a tough time. When you're standing in your front yard and the media shows up because your house is burning down, still there. Still there. That night when we gathered at our son's house, who lives nearby, we're sitting around the table celebrating. The house is gone. At 8 o'clock that morning, I had a house that I lived in for 17 years. 8 o'clock that night, everything's gone. And we are celebrating because compared to the night Nick went down, this was a fucking 2, okay? Nick going down was a 10. Your house burning down, it's a 2. So we were celebrating that. Thank you, subconscious. And it's that kind of stuff that comes together that makes it real. So your subconscious knows what your true abilities are. You know, a lot of us wish we could do something. We'd like to work towards something, but your subconscious actually knows what's possible. And when you partner in with what's actually possible, start taking notes. Knows what you can trust and what you really need. And your subconscious will, she will shift at the speed of need. At the speed of need. It is not, when you're going, oh God, I'm standing up here and I know that I'm going to start in 5 minutes, and Hugh walks in the door. And all he had to do was touch my shoulder and synchronize my breathing. My subconscious just said, thank you. And I stepped up and I'm fine. It's not just that your subconscious knows things. Your subconscious is also your co-creator. And please understand as I speak to you, this stuff's good for your clients too. I'm just talking to the people. I'm talking to your subconscious right now. I'm not talking to your client's subconscious. I'm talking to yours. So we're going to work from there. But there's also a partnership that happens with choice and possibility. When you live a life willing to live in the question, and the question is, don't ask a when question, because the answer to a when question is when you're ready. Really, just, you can shift off the when questions. When you ask a question, as in the partnership line, and you are willing to receive choices and possibilities, not answers, choices and possibilities. And your subconscious is going, game on. Memories and emotions and belief jump in on that and say, well, I don't know, this choice, I remember we did this before. Ooh, I did that. That's how I felt. I'd really like to try this. I remember stepping out before. You get choices and possibilities. Well, then step 3 is take action, inspired action, because at that point, your subconscious has helped you decide. And that's where you get that resourcing. You were sourced initially. That's awesome. I don't care where you get your sources from. It may be here, it may be somewhere else. But if you've got enough oomph to ask the question, then that means you're looking for some resourcing. You're looking for some more sources. If you were satisfied with where you are, with what you know right here, right now, then you wouldn't need to ask the question. So when you ask the question, choices and possibilities. Well, who do you think your partner is at that point? I mean, your partner is just on it, absolutely on it at that point. Okay. My subconscious, your subconscious, is awake and alert and open to communicate always. He's not going to go to sleep. She doesn't take a break. She doesn't say, oh, this is tough. I'll be back a little bit later. When you get that figured out, let me know. No, your subconscious is with you absolutely always. And I'm going to share with you how I do what I do. But as you take the willingness to speak with your subconscious, it's going to take her a minute to find her voice. You know, subconscious, may I speak with you? Yes. She's probably not been invited to actually verbally speak before. Now, part of the pre-talk is when I talk to you, just talk to me. Your subconscious is awake and alert and communicating through you all the time. When your subconscious actually gets the direct invitation to speak, give her a break. And I'm going to honor you again in a moment, but yesterday I sat in Nasser's, or whatever day this is, I sat in his class. What's inspiring about being with other people in this highly respected profession is that we have the ability to speak from the heart and allow our subconscious to flow, whether you know that or not. And he's up there and he's just talking and nuggets are falling out of his mouth and he's not even paying attention to what he's saying. But one of the things that he said was, our subconscious makes the best decisions. So instead of trying to communicate at or direct attention toward, how about a partnership? How about I get in there and make it real as if I'm talking to you, as if I'm talking to you, as if I'm talking to you? You know, Anthony was standing in my office last week and I said, I don't do great in crowds of people that I don't know. He said, then take my arm and I'll walk you right through it. I think that was kind of my subconscious saying, you know, said, you're going to be there next week. Yeah, okay. So I've got that arm right there. I hugged that man right there to walk in the door. All right, so let's get the adventure started in a setting with a client. Now I'm shifting around here, guys. But one of the questions, part of my pre-talk is, the one thing that I'm going to do with you is I'm going to connect you with your subconscious mind. That's my pre-talk right there. I'm going to connect you with your subconscious mind in such a way that it is so deep and it is so personal and it is so real that you can go to the core of any issue at any time because it's within you. Because your subconscious does make the best decisions. He's got all the details. He's got everything that made that what it is. So as hypnotists, we can create those suggestions and those triggers with a partnership. But it starts off by saying, do I have your permission? And I've done this with Terry. Do I have your permission to work with your subconscious? And I'm asking that when he's wide awake, alert, cognitive, thinking mind. Now, two things happen. I asked that clearly during the pre-talk, because if the cognitive thinking, clear mind says, yes, you have permission to work with my subconscious, two things happen. The subconscious is listening. And he's sitting there going, wait a minute, I just got permission. Your cognitive mind knows that permission has been given, and your subconscious knows he's got permission to talk to me. There's an acknowledgement of that participation, that partnership, before you even leave the pre-talk. You know that I'm going to talk to your subconscious and you've given me permission to do so. So the center slide is when you get that, your conscious mind, your subconscious mind are listening to one another. Thank God. But then the second question is, once we get in there, is, subconscious, are you willing to work with me? And you set that up almost with a partnership agreement of, you need to understand that I know who you are, and I am here to help for the highest and greatest good. I am aware that Terry is standing on the leading edge of his next step, and I'm here to assist with that. So I'm here to work with you, to give you tools. You talk to me, and we'll figure this out together. Now, I'm going to skip the trance part, but the bottom line is, and if I had more time, I would do this with you right here, right now, knock your socks off. But I'm going to give it to you just kind of metaphorically at this point, so just invite your imagination to awaken. But once into trance, it literally is the meeting of the minds. It's subconscious. I'd like you to meet Hugh. In trance, subconscious, I would like you to meet Hugh. And Hugh, it is my honor, it is my privilege to introduce you to your subconscious. And oftentimes ahead of time, you'll say, subconscious, I don't know if you're going to be recognized more as a feeling or as a visual or just an awareness. I don't care. But if you can let me know how you're going to show up, then Hugh will know what to expect. Because once you invite imagination, that's all going to shift and change anyway, but you got to start somewhere. And it really can be as simple as, subconscious, I'd like to introduce you to Adam. And Adam, it is my honor to introduce you to your subconscious. And then that connection's made. And one of the next things that I'm going to say is, to subconscious, are you willing to work with me for Vera's highest and greatest interest? And the subconscious doesn't say no to that. Now, we've had a couple of people who came in for weight loss, and we said, well, what'd you think of your subconscious? And she said, you mean that skinny bitch? Because the image was who she wanted to be, but not what her reality was. And so sometimes there's some relationship work you need to do, but as hypnotists, we can do that too. This is so important, and this is most of the work that I do with my clients. Once you connect with the subconscious mind on a personal level, then you connect with the components. Hello, memory. I am so glad you're here. Hello, emotions. I know you are where Stephanie's going to heal. You're where she's going to heal memories. You're where she's going to heal emotions. And I honor you, and I am glad you're here. And you might be having a tough time right now, but I want you to look around and see that you are totally surrounded by the memories. And imagination, 24/7, baby. Bring it on. That which needs to be brilliant and vivid and clear, build it up. But those things which don't need to be, restructure. When memory and imagination start playing together, it's hilarious because it's like, oh, that's not necessary anymore. That's not necessary anymore. I set up an entire library the other day for memory and emotion to come so that imagination could breathe the breath of neutrality into the environment and gifted every emotion and every memory with neutral. And those memories that didn't know they had the choice of neutral and said, okay, and any of you guys out there that need special attention, I got space right up here. We're not eliminating anybody. But if all you needed was neutral, you got it. And memory showed up and emotion showed up. I've got another slide for belief. As I already said, if you don't respect and honor belief, go home. Because you're working with the subconscious mind is the part that's precious. It's the part that's sacred. It's the spark of the divine that's inside of the person you're working with. And it doesn't matter what their belief system is. I'm not talking about faith, and I'm not talking about religion. I'm saying, are we willing to shift doubt to believe it could be different? Are we willing to shift this hardcore belief to say, wait a minute, if I'm willing to doubt that just a little bit, then change can and will happen. All of these components working together, and honestly, I speak to them as individuals. Hello, memory. What you got, honey? Is there anything coming up right now that, and I guess that's a little bit like regression, except I don't treat it that way. I'm just going, memory, what you got? With that memory coming up, emotion, you got anything there? Okay, that kind of thing. And I'm going really fast. And as I said, I will redo this at home. And for anyone that gave me their information, I will send it out to you. A lot of times it's yes and no. You can do Hello Subconscious with the finger stuff. If you're not comfortable building a conversation, that's fine. But once you get into a conversation with subconscious, it's like, subconscious, I want you to know you're appreciated. I know you're there. And I appreciate you. What you do for Vera makes a difference. And you are appreciated. Thank you that when Sean wakes up in the morning, you're right there with him. And when he steps out of bed and says, best day ever, that imagination is right there beside you to make that real and give it the oomph that it requires. The second thing, we don't normally speak to subconscious on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis. And that's fine. But it's like, subconscious, did you realize how powerful you are? You can pull from all of your resources. And as you pull from each and every one of those resources, stuff changes. You are powerful. And we do all of this hypnotic stuff. And I'm not even going to begin to guess the plethora of brilliance that's in this room. But everything you do, I promise it's running through the subconscious mind. And I know, are you aware of this issue? This lady comes in and she startles. She's so funny. She startles. And she said, I can know my husband's walking around the door and I startle. It's a joke, except for me, it's not funny. We all laugh about it, but it's not funny. We shifted startle to sparkle in about a half hour. And part of it was, subconscious, are you aware of this issue? Well, of course subconscious is aware of this issue. It's something that's really important. To the point, she was willing to walk into a hypnotist. And she walked into my office on Wednesday at noon, and I said, I'm flying tomorrow. She said, then I'll be back at 1. Okay. And by 2 o'clock, Sparkle was born. And I didn't have to do a whole lot of work because subconscious knew. She knew what brought her through the door. She knew what she wanted to work on. And as soon as I let her know that those memories and that emotion and that imagination and those beliefs shift at the speed of need, you don't have to go digging. Give subconscious permission to be brilliant. And she is. He is. We've got somebody into trance now. We are creating that initial conversation. Subconscious, it's very nice to meet you. She's off drifting, yes? Can you take care of things while she's away? And it's that respect. We don't take the conscious mind way, way, way out and away. No, you can sit, you can listen. I'm just offering the conscious mind a break because I'm going to be speaking with your subconscious mind. So either stay or leave. I don't care. Leave your eyes open and closed. It doesn't matter. It's not like that little piece of skin matters. Were you listening when she gave me permission to work with you? Yes? I've never had a subconscious say, what? No. I'm listening. And are you comfortable working with me? Because if the subconscious is not comfortable working with me, that one of the things I say during the pre-talk is, if I say, do I have permission to work with your subconscious? And they get a gut punch, then we're done. But as long as your physical body, your emotional system, and your memories, your imagination are okay, you're okay with this too. It's like a pre-promise that I make to them. But it's still a secondary question. Subconscious, are you comfortable working with me? Yes, they are. And then I assure that everything we do together is going to be for you's highest and greatest good. Everything we do together is going to be for Vera, who's standing on the leading edge of the next step you will ever take for your highest and your best for that next step. This is looking into the heart of the subconscious, Don, and saying, I believe in you. And if you will partner with me, we're going to make magic together. Because when we shift one thing shifts, then all of a sudden that relationship with subconscious becomes not only possible, but powerful within you, within your clients. I usually start my sessions, I don't know if this is hypnotic or I really facilitate consciousness more than I do hypnosis. I told my husband one day I'll learn to be a hypnotist, but until then I facilitate consciousness and it works out just great. Are you willing to partner with me? Realizing that we're setting a positive momentum, we're setting a positive step forward. Are you willing to partner with me? We're a team. I'm here to assist. I'm here to guide. I am here to assist you in getting all of these different pieces together. If we're a puzzle and every piece fits every piece, let's get the pieces out there, put them together any way you want. And then imagination, come on and fill in the picture. What do you want it to be today? Kind of thing. We're a team. We're going to do this together. And any and all hypnotic tools or suggestions or spoken word or intentions, connections, they're for you too. There is nothing I'm doing that's only for the cognitive thinking mind, and there's nothing I'm doing that's only for the subconscious mind. This is for the wholeness, the oneness of the person that we're working with. And the other thing, I love imagination. Imagination is like my best friend. Subconscious is the one that creates the landscape. That's fun. Because you don't know what the landscape is. I've been to France, but I've never been to France. I don't know. When I say cottage to you, I'm really sure it's going to be something that's totally different than when I say cottage for Anthony. It's going to be a different world. But what you want is for your subconscious to create that environment where it is highest and best for you. So if somebody needs a house with the doors that lock and you hand them a master key, give them a good one. You will never be locked in again, and you will never be locked out again. And you get to choose which doors you lock, which doors you unlock, and which doors you walk through. You walk through that door, everything changes. Will you walk through that door? But the landscape is built with the subconscious having that key so that it's her choice. It's his choice on where that landscape is and where it's headed next. Whatever the subconscious believes, that's the universe's gospel. Because if your subconscious doesn't believe it, now that doesn't mean that can't be shifted and changed. If you got the guts to ask a question, obviously you're looking for some more information. Everything is changeable. But if your subconscious doesn't believe it, don't push that. Just because I believe something, I have a lot of beliefs that, my father before he died couldn't even say the word hypnosis. How's your business going? It's good, Dad. We're doing fine. Well, I'm glad. I'm happy you're happy. Okay? Dad didn't believe in hypnosis. There was no way I was going to hypnotize my father because his universe did not allow that. Mine really does, okay? When you honor and respect, I'm going to read off this. When you honor and respect subconscious, you've got a tremendous ally. When there's a respect given and a respect received, when there's a partnership that is built on respect and honor, game on. When your invitation to work with subconscious belief is real, then there's a full participation. Nobody needs to be left out because all along the way, this is for the highest and the greatest. This is our intention for what needs to be worked on. And I'm talking about some tough stuff. My kid nearly died, okay? And my house burnt down. So, one lady came in one day and says, you don't know what pain is because you haven't met mine. Truth, I hadn't. And I so badly wanted to say, which one do you want to trade, babe? So, we worked with where she was and what she needed to deal with. But when you participate at that belief level with a sincere invitation, I truly do want to work with you. This matters this much. If I'm going to help Adam, if I'm going to help Jesse, if I'm going to help Dawn, it has to matter that they are comfortable with these fresh changes and perspectives that are coming. Adam, would you stand for just a second? This is Adam Nasser. I just met him this week. One of the things that he spoke this week, that do you realize that every time you do what we do, we change the world. Now, you don't have to have the goal of changing the world. I'm saying every time we do what we do change the world. Because within me, my universe, my world inside of me, Don's is inside of him, Adam's is in him, Terry's and Anthony's and Vera's and Hugh's and Stephanie's. Everybody is your world unto yourself. And we have the honored privilege of working in that world. And they're not coming to us unless there's potential change, positive momentum that's going to throw you forward. When you are part of the partnership that shifts and changes that inner landscape, you've changed the world. And I know that, but I heard that from you. And then I went to him and said, I really liked what you said. Can I add it to my slides? I got permission. But isn't that true, guys? We change the world every time. Every time we do what we do, We change the world because each one of us has a world within ourselves. Honor that and talk to your own subconscious about that. And then have a really good time. Your subconscious can handle the complicated because the subconscious could go anywhere and could collect from an imaginary world anywhere it needs to be collected. How far back do you need to be protected in order to escort this memory forward? I'll hold back. Treat me like a tidal wave. I will stand and I will hold the space. It is my belief that the subconscious can most definitely handle complicated. And a lot of what we do is releasing some level of negativity somewhere. In the process, regardless of how you get there, if you want to work with the subconscious mind, and I don't care what process you use, I'm not telling you how to do your job. But once you get to the part about disconnecting negativity with the subconscious, you with me? Belief, you got me? You disconnect that negativity through all connections. And that's all the different components of the subconscious, all the different components of the person you're working with. Cognitive, not cognitive, whatever. All connections, all associations, all generations. How many people that we love and care for, it was their brother, it was their father, it was their mother, it was grandpa, it was Uncle Jimmy. We're all connected to a community. None of us are an island. We can't be independent. So by generation, I don't mean blood generations. I'm saying it's a big world. All connections, all associations, all generations, back to the point of origin. And you know who knows what that is? Your subconscious. Your emotions know what that is. Your emotions know what that is. Your memories know what that is. And your imagination is welcome to spin that sucker any way it needs to go in order to get you from here to there. What do you want? Subconscious, do you understand this issue? Yes. Are you willing to work with me to shift it? Yes. What do we need to do? And we shifted, startle to sparkle like that. It was amazing. One of the most powerful tools as hypnotist, and I'm not about to share anything with you guys you don't already know, okay? But the reason we do what we do, the reason we can step in with our heart and say, if you will allow me to be your assistant, if you will allow me to be your guide, if you will allow me to care for you from my subconscious to yours, then we will step into a space of timelessness where all you've got is right here, right now. And we're going to work on it right here, right now. You don't have to leave the chair. You're not even leaving my office. The emotions, it'll sift through the years, does the math, makes the adjustments perfectly. Your memories can bring stuff up, can shift stuff back. I give everybody a vault. When you start playing the memory shift game, there's stuff that you don't need to work on for this issue, but that was connected. Give them a vault. Memory shifts things at the speed of need. Memory's willing to pull up those memories and pull up those emotions together as a team to get you where you need to go. I'm not sure I could even say anything more about imagination. I've given you my absolute heart. My imagination for me is the most powerful part of the subconscious mind. Because if your imagination is truly on board with you, what do you need? Do you need something to become more vibrant? Do you need something to fade away? Do you need something to support this? Do you need to go to the beach? Do you need to climb a mountain? I've got a class on how to create your own personal path. Now, I'm lucky because Hugh did give me. I've got this sacred geometry grid. I am so hooked into that. I can race across the top. I can be light in the middle of it. Every intersection's perfect. No matter where I am, I've never made a bad decision because the sacred geometry that's running through me as within my subconscious is perfect. That came from my imagination. And a hypnotist that was willing to say, tell me, what is it again you want? Okay, got it. And so it's okay to ask the subconscious, be as specific as necessary, and then I'll help you get there. And we did that day. It was like, Sondra, I hear you, and I recognize your passion, but I'm sorry, I don't quite understand what you're asking for. Could I pull you out of trance, and would you explain this to me in a way that I'm better going to understand where you're coming from? Oh man, as soon as he got it, he goes, okay, I got it now. Gone. And thank you for that. Am I telling the story well? That's my story. Your belief, and I know that there's a lot of people use the word belief systems. My husband and I kind of play with that all the time because it's like, I don't understand what a system is. I just work with belief. I know there are things that hook together, but for me, belief knows how it happened, knows what, knows why, knows when, knows where. I believe this because there are life situations, there are life circumstances that got me where I am for who I am. And my belief system is holding me to the best of her ability. And if Don Pellis can walk into my office and say, you know what, I know that that's what you believe because this has happened. But I have a process here that if you will trust me and let me hook in with your subconscious, I've got a process here that will shift this just enough that I believe that your belief will be able to join us. And as far as I'm concerned, unless belief joins you, I check in with belief all the time. Belief, you okay with this one? You all right? Everybody okay? All right, and then we continue. Positive change can and will happen in the blink of an eye. I say the speed of need quite frequently. The speed of thought is okay. Another tool I'd like to give you really quick. What I do is I'm willing, and I encourage you, for your clients as well as yourself, to be willing to receive thought instead of think thought. Now for me, receive comes in over here, but that's just a body placement thing for me. But when you are willing, open and willing to receive thought, then you've given your permission to your subconscious to bring something up you hadn't already thought about. If you're working with your cognitive thought side, then if you're working with that cognitive thought side, you've got all the reasons why it may or may not work. But if you shift over to receiving thought, then you say, okay, subconscious, what you got? And subconscious starts plopping in similar situations, similar emotions. A tool that I give you for you and your clients is be willing to quietly, as you work with your subconscious, be willing to receive thought instead of thinking it. And for me, receiving thought is a piece of your heart so that you feel it first. When you feel thought first and you feel it and you say, okay, I feel this, now what do I think about it? Interesting. Okay, well, I feel it and this is what I think. The other side is, well, I think this. How do I feel about that? You get a lot further down the road working with your subconscious if you were willing to receive the thought from subconscious and allow your subconscious to give you a feeling about it and then shift from that. We're not missing anything, and allow yourself the privilege of giving your subconscious permission to allow you to receive thought from him, from her. Now, all of this is all well and good and it sounds great, but what happens when the subconscious says no? Now, that's one of the beautiful things about what we do. If you don't ask, you don't know. Okay? You don't know what the story is. You don't know why. You don't know what. But when you're actually having a conversation with subconscious, it shifts everything. So we are at the funeral of Fred's mother and Lynn, who is Fred's wife. They're our good friends. And I have permission to tell Lynn's story. Just know that. I spoke with her. She told me to make her a rock star. Lynn breaks out in hives, and I mean, she is just covered. She is miserable. So my husband is a hypnotist, and he's like the best on the planet. And so he takes her out to the car, puts her in the front seat, drops her into trance, and says, subconscious, are you aware of these hives? Yes. And we already had a Hello Subconscious contract with or protocol going on. She was already a client. Do you know about the hives? Yes. Can you shut them off? No. And it wasn't a maybe. It was a no. Now, think about that for a minute. If you weren't aware of a person's circumstance and you just start throwing suggestions at them and their subconscious hasn't been given the respect to explain the situation, then you may not be headed down toward the highest and best. So Larry's next question is it acceptable for you to turn down the hives until she gets home? And subconscious said, yeah, I can do that. That's fine. And a lot of times that's the kind of approval you'll get. Yeah, I can do that. Excuse me. Yeah, I can do that. So she looked in the mirror. She totally freaked out because her face was covered with hives. Larry dropped her back into trance. Subconscious, could you take away the visual, at least until she gets home? Sure, I can do that. Okay, thank you. Make it so. So when she looked in the mirror the second time, she went, oh, I look better. Now, physically, she didn't look any different at all. But her senses had been so that she could get through what she needed to get through. Okay? Now, you would think, wait a minute, it's hives. Why can't you shut them down? They could not be shut down because 10 years before, she had a heart attack due to stress. What her subconscious, what her body, what her being, what her well-being had created was the opportunity for her to get hives when she got so cranked up before she went on to have another heart attack. So the hives kept her safe from having a heart attack. Does that mean she enjoyed the hives? No, but when she hit the hives, she backed off. There was no way that these hives were going to go away on the day of her mother-in-law's funeral. However, subconscious was willing to take them down. Now, the rest of the story is we figured that out. And a few days later, it wasn't that day, but a few days later, we had a session with her and we realized, wait a minute, the hives have a job. What are the hives' job? My job is to show up so that she doesn't ever hit that level of anxiety again. She hates the hives and she backs off because she's beautiful. She's not going to be out in public. She's not going to be pushing herself. She backs off. What if thank you. All right. It's who we are. It's what we do. Hello, subconscious. Thank you.
That was absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And in my
You gotta
opinion,
go.
Let's get together.
Okay. All right.
Lunch or something.
Thank you. Yes.
Sondra, in my opinion, this was by far the most heartfelt, respectful, and wholesome course I have ever seen at Hypnothoughts. It's just my second time. But in my opinion, lady, you can understand the subconscious like almost no one has. And I think that you might even understand it more than me.
Well, you got my information.
I hope you come back.
Jesse, thank you. It was nice meeting you.
Really, I feel honored to have been in this class.
Thank you.
And I found a few things that I would love to